In this video, it's just a bit of bits and pieces. What's going on with the fleet at the moment? I'm going to start with Betty, who is sat over here at the moment. She's having a bit of a rest after what has been an exciting time. I've got some video footage of us coming back from the Hubnut social aboard Betty. It's shot on a mobile phone, so it's a bit shaky. I was going to check it on the Hubnut channel. Do go and subscribe over there if you haven't already, but let's just check it here anyway.
So here we are, we're on the road again. We're on our way home after the Hubnut social, and as you may well notice, we're in Betty. Woohoo! Woohoo! How do we feel about having Betty back?
Oh, it's so nice. I'm just wafting along, cruise control engaged, wafty wafty waft.
Wafty wafty waft.
Meanwhile, Myrtle is, she's just been home today, but I've just noticed the inside edge of these tyres is very badly worn, and now I can't remember if I actually sorted that out and got the tracking done or not, or whether that's still an issue. I seem to recall getting the tracking done on a car with small wheels, so it might well be that one. Might need to go and actually check through the paperwork if I can find it. But still got a wheel bearing going, so I'm not putting many miles on Myrtle at the moment. She tends to sit around and just have the odd weekly trip. Ellie has been sharing daily duty. I've just noticed that tyre looks a bit squashy, so I better check that. Might be a puncture. That's a bit annoying. Also going to have to order a new hood, because this one's A, it's faded really badly, and B, I've actually managed to rot through the frame here. That shouldn't bend like that. So that's rotten there. It's rotting up all under here as well. So it's probably because I don't reproof the hood as often as you should. But I bought that hood from Matt Soft Tops. It's a canvas one. It's not, sorry, excuse me, door. It's not original fitment, and I think I fitted that in 2005, possibly, there or thereabouts. So I've had plenty of use out of it, but it does seem to be knackered now. So replace that. Matt Soft Tops also makes the little liner I've got inside to act as a sunscreen. So that's a good thing as well. Oltcit, I'm going to start it up. In fact, I'll do that now. I'll just go and connect the battery up. So this is the big test for this car, because it hasn't been starting very well if you leave it parked up. It's been a couple of days. I'll just squeeze in a bit tight next to Ellie there. Set some choke. Choke cable keeps pulling out the dashboard, which makes that extra fun to do. And we'll see whether she actually starts today. Did I brick her up? No. It's a shame because the handbrake seems to be sticking. But here we go. Oh, that sounds more encouraging, does it not? I already did briefly leave the leads fairly loose while we're just tinkering. But yeah, that's annoying. I was hoping that problem would have been banished. Charade, I really need to get on the Charade. Just need to start digging into it. The problem on the Charade is the inlet manifold down the back of the engine appears to be leaking. So that's not great, and nor is access. I might have to pull off all the inlet gubbins to actually get access to that. So yeah, I'm putting that job off. But it needs to happen. This car is still taxed and MOT'd and insured. I mean, granted, the MOT is only £30 a year, so it didn't seem worth taking her off the road, to be honest. The parts Oltcit has been proving very useful, giving up parts. We've got a complete carburetor, pumps, all sorts in here, but we're in the boot. But yeah, Mini Hubnut isn't going to be pleased that I'm starting to dismantle it, but he's got his eyes on something else already, so it'll be alright. And the Fox. I need to do something with the Fox. We need to get Fox out for some adventures. First one being get her an MOT. Again, I'm just rubbish. I haven't managed to get on with anything because yeah, too much going on. It's and too many cars perhaps. So when you have too many cars, you end up losing focus. But the Invacar, I have a new battery for. I'm slightly concerned the battery may be too big. I know other Invacar owners have fitted similar batteries, but they're Invacars that have a front mounted battery, a desperate attempt to try and add some sort of weight balance to them. Took has hers in the engine bay, so we'll see if that fits. She also seems to be leaking from that rocker cover again, which is upsetting. I don't seem to be able to banish that leak entirely. But I think I'm going to try and get her out for a run today, because I just feel like I need a run in tuck. So we'll see if we can fit the battery, and away we go. Right, let's see if that new battery makes a difference, because I'm going to need a running to get her out of here. It's a bit back and forth. Oh, wait for me, tuck. I've got 12.4 volts showing on the voltmeter, so that's already an improvement. Oh yeah. Wait for the fuel to come through. It's getting there. Try a little less choke. Come on, tuck. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I know you've been ignored. Come on. Can someone move that bloody workmate? I'm sure this wasn't in the way as much as it is. There we go. Oh, clutch is engaged, the revs are too high. That's close, isn't it? Close is fine as long as it's not actually touching. I haven't had a proper run out in tuck for far too long. So let's do it. Oh, it does help if you put her in gear, doesn't it? Wait for the revs to drop again. There we go. Attach my bungee cord to stop her jumping out of gear. Then move the bungee cord so it doesn't rattle. Choke is fully in, handbrake is off, twist and go. You may notice I've added some blind spot mirrors. They are helping, because the blind spots on this car are enormous. So a reminder, this is a 1972 Invacar. It has a Steyr Pooch air-cooled flat twin engine at the back. Not a Villiers engine, they were used in earlier forms of Invacar and invalid carriage generally. It has a CVT, continuously variable transmission with a belt drive, rather like a DAF. Hand throttle here, I brake by putting the handlebars down and steer as you might expect on a motorbike. As we reach about 40 miles an hour, the pulleys reach the maximum extent of travel and then the engine revs go up. That's 50 miles an hour. And yes, it is as terrifying as it looks, I must say, but we're just coming down into Newquay, a rather nice part of the world. This is where we send our packages off. When you buy merchandise, we come down to the post office in Newquay, which is yeah, very nice, but rather besieged by tourists at the moment, so actually getting down there can be quite tricky. Beautiful views of Cardigan Bay in the distance. But I think we might have a little run out to Aberaeron, because I haven't actually been out in tuck, other than quick runs around the block, for a very long time. So I think we need to go a little bit further today. And this is a bus route, so you do get full-size single-deckers coming along here, which can make life rather exciting. Yeah, Newquay proper is down to the left here. Oh, where are you going? You're going to stop there on a blind bend. That's marvellous. Well done, you. Yeah, very tight and twisty and cutesy and folksy. This garage on this brown building here was for sale last year, and sadly I couldn't afford to buy it. I reckon I'd only get about 4 cars in there though, so perhaps not ideal. So she cruises very nicely at 30 miles an hour, and the bigger engine, it's a 500cc engine, or 493 to be exact, was a direct result of people complaining that those single cylinder Villiers engines were no good up hills. Tuck still isn't brilliant up hills, but the performance jump was so good that they often retarded the ignition to try and hold the engines back a bit, and sadly Tuck's distributor is entirely seized in place, so yeah, that is a bit of a problem. I can't adjust the ignition timing. I suspect if I advanced it up a bit, she'd be a bit perkier, because by all accounts TPA, my old spares car that now lives on in Milton Keynes, is quite the flyer. Tuck feels more lively, and I wonder if it's because I've actually got a battery that's holding charge now, so the dyno start unit, which starts and then charges, isn't having to work flat out all the time, so that means a bit less drag on the engine. That probably makes a difference when you've only got about 20 brake horsepower. So we're coming up to some national speed limit. Oh, hello. That's old Volvo 850, they're getting a bit rare now. Wait for it, wait for it. Downhill as well, so who? $40. That's pretty much 50. Oh, that's getting scary now, there are bends. You feel like a motorbike, you feel you should lean into the bends a bit. Yeah, please don't overtake that tractor just now. I'll tell you what, 45 miles an hour has never been more fun, and here are the buses. So these cars were made for wheelchair users. A lot of people have heard this before, but that's where they came from. That's why the controls are designed to be so simple. Because at the time, it was really difficult to convert cars. These days, cars have fly-by-wire, they have power steering, it's quite easy to adapt them for wheelchair users. But back in the day, this was all you could do, really. And I believe these were given out on the NHS, so our National Health Service. So you get your wheelchair, your crutches, and then ultimately your Invacar. If you passed a simple test, which was basically driving one of these around a car park. But yeah, they're slow, they're very dangerous. Graham Hill, Sir Sterling Moss, they campaigned against them and said they need replacing with something a lot safer. And that's why the scheme came to an end in 1977. But if you already had an Invacar, you could keep using it, and someone kept using Tuck until 2003, when the scheme finally came to a complete end. And it must have been a sad moment when Tuck was taken away from her last owner, because what was she replaced with? Possibly a mobility scooter, I guess. But when I got this car, there was a little shopping list tucked under the windscreen seal here, which suggests, you know, it was all a bit sudden and last minute, but these things were taken away. So very sad indeed. That is the handbrake there. I do have a little screen wash here and an upside down wiper switch there. and the wiper operates at a more satisfactory speed. Now we've actually got a battery with some decent oomph in it, but the parking is broken, so I have to park it myself. They did always park there back in the day, so that is normal. We're now stuck behind a bus at a bus stop. Can't go around it because the bus stop is right at the end of the road, so that's nice and sensible. But it's a centrifugal clutch, so with the engine at low revs, the clutch disengages, so the engine's spinning around, it's not driving the car forward. As you increase revs, the clutch plates move out, or clutch shoes rather, grip the drum on the back of the gearbox, and drive is transmitted and away you go. And the continuously variable transmission, 2 big pulleys, constantly alter the gearing to try and keep the engine in a peak power band, what little power it has. Hold the service brake on as we build the revs, just to stop rolling backwards, because I can't operate the handbrake and the throttle at the same time. That is a design flaw in this layout. The controls moved around all over the place, so TPA, my spares car, had all the switchgear and the handbrake on the left, infinitely more sensible, because then this hand can do things like that, and it means you can actually do a hill start. This is really difficult to do a hill start in. You have to hold it on the service brake, what would be the foot brake in a normal car. But certainly when I first started driving this car, it did take some getting used to with these controls, but we've done about 4,000 miles together now, and it must be said I kind of know what I'm doing. And the adventures I've had in this car, I once drove her all the way to Essex, the factory she was built in, and on that same trip took her around the Goodwood Motor Circuit. We did an auto solo there, so I was really checking her around, and that was all fine, not a problem. Still be on the same bus again. I can't even make a VMAX attempt today, the traffic is just horrendous. I guess that's the summer holidays for you. Just coming down into Aberaeron, which is very colourful. All the houses are painted different colours, and yeah, it's a lovely little town, Aberaeron. Miss Hubnut has done a tour of Aberaeron, which you can check out. We ate some very delicious ice cream. Looking forward to Miss Hubnut hopefully getting back on the wagon with her channel next month. This section can feel very narrow. It doesn't feel so narrow when you're in an Invacar. That's the charge indicator, by the way. So when the engine's at lower revs, that tends to drop away. Brave. Oh, you could actually signal, but no, apparently you can't. That bus is now going to do the same sort of thing, swing around, but we're going down here. Marvellous. Let's put it back into neutral. Yeah, you get out of an Invacar by tilting the door and then sliding it forward, so you could transfer to your wheelchair if you so wished. But here we are. Took the Invacar and delightful Aberaeron. I see the tide's out today, so I'm not getting a great view of the sea, but you can see right up the bay. Aberystwyth is right up in the distance, the other side of that radio mast. It's a beautiful spot. So I'm going to end that one there and say thank you very much for watching. See you in a future video. Just leave you with a view. Well, that's annoying, it runs now. I haven't done anything more. I took the top off the carburettor. I've even put the camera away. I just thought I'll just have another go. Check the accelerator pump was working, and it is, and away she runs. Sodding thing.